Hey guys, I'm back and I'm here to talk about low porosity. So after finding out that I had low porosity hair just a few days ago, I did some research and I'm just here to share some tricks and tips for you. I'm gonna get right to it because I know people that talk and talk and talk and talk. It's like, all right, sis, get to the point. I'm here for low porosity. All right, so I'm looking at my iPad. In case you guys are wondering if I'm looking down, I am looking at my little notes. But all right, so basically low porosity just means that it is harder for us to get moisture into our hair cuticle. So basically when I think of it, I think of like a dry tampon versus a wet tampon. Okay, so like low porosity is like the dry tampon. It's naturally, the hair follicle is naturally restricted, and then when you wet a tampon, it opens up. And that's what high porosity is like. The hair follicle is naturally open, so it's easy for moisture to get in, where low porosity, naturally restricted, where it's harder for moisture to get in. So that's basically like the difference between low porosity and high porosity. And I know my analogy is a little weird, but I feel like it's like very self-explanatory, right? Restricted versus not restricted. Harder for moisture to get in versus easier for moisture to get in. All right, so tip number one I have for our low porosity girls, because again, this is tips for our low porosity friends. Tip number one, wash and rinse with warm water. So as I said, when you have low porosity hair, your hair cuticle is restricted. So when you wash and you rinse with warm water rather than cold water, which is what I was told, the warm water allows the hair follicle to open up, whereas cold water is restricting. So if you wash with warm water, you're able to get all the moisture that your hair needs rather than you kind of sealing your follicle with cold water and not really getting as much moisture as you should be getting. Okay? Plain and simple, right? All right, tip number two, wash your hair in sections. So have you ever seen like the hair videos, or you know, girls with natural hair and they put their hair in the water and their hair just kind of like floats on top of the water and doesn't necessarily get wet? So those girls have low porosity hair. And with low porosity hair, it's just important to split it into sections, because it's just making sure that it's your hair is actually, every hair strand is actually getting wet, because as we said, it's harder for our hair to absorb moisture. So if you're splitting it up and making sections smaller, especially if you have thicker hair, it's really just making sure that your hair is actually being fully soaked. Tip number three is, the deep condition with heat. So this isn't something that I do, but I'm gonna start doing it now, just because now that I've researched, I understand my hair, my porosity level anyway. It's definitely important to try to deep condition with heat. Okay, so why deep condition with heat? It's the same as washing and rinsing with warm water. Using the heat allows your follicle to open up. So if your follicle's open instead of restricted while you're deep conditioning, it's allowing all that deep conditioner, all the moisturizer, all the moisturization, it is allowing it to actually penetrate your hair follicle and get in there good.
And deep condition, sis.
Okay, so that's really why it is important to do it with heat, because if you're not deep conditioning with heat and you're deep conditioning, say like with a bag, like a plastic bag like I do, this is your hair follicle and it's gonna be harder for the moisture to get in.
When you're deep conditioned with heat, your hair follicle's open and it's just getting all in there. And then when you're done, it closes back up and it seals in that moisture.
Tip number four, clarify, clarify, clarify. So this is also something I don't do. So I am a co-wash girl. I was always told, don't shampoo so much, don't clarify as much because it strips your hair of all of its natural moisture, don't do it. I'm like, all right, cool, I won't do it. So with high porosity hair, as I said, your hair follicle is restricted. And once that moisture gets in, it's harder for it to get out. And that's the same with buildup and product and things like that. So if you're not going through and clarifying, you're not getting all of that buildup and that product out of your hair. So when you go to re-moisturize, it's not getting in there because it's already clogged as fuck.
me, clogged as fuck, and then you end up with like the white hair. Your hair is like white because it's just a bunch of buildup, a bunch of products just sitting on the top of your hair.
Tip number 5. Tip number 5. Something I also don't do. Apply your leave-in conditioner in the shower. So that is because the same reason I've been saying this whole time. Your hair follicle with low porosity hair is restricted. So when you're doing things outside of the shower, if you're doing things without heat, it's not penetrating as much as it should be, as much as it could be if you were doing it with heat. So if you do it in the shower, it's kind of like the treehouse effect. So you're in the shower, shower's closed, all the steam, all the heat, your follicle is wide open. It's like, give it to me, baby, give it to me. It's wide open. So you apply your leave-in there before you leave, because once you leave the shower, it's gonna close back up because it's no longer in the heat. Apply it in the shower. And before you leave the shower, put a shower cap on and don't take it off until you're ready to style. Because when you go to put your leave-in conditioner outside of the shower, you're putting it in, like I said, on top of a restricted hair follicle. And then you go to put another product on top of that and another product on top of that. You're just layering the products and they're not penetrating. And that's when you get the white hair.
Like your products they're just sitting on your head white and kind of like let them sit a little bit to soak in. But it's just sitting on top of your head. It's not penetrating anything. And then your hair's going to be dry AF by day 2. That's me. That is my problem. I didn't even think like, maybe you should find out your porosity.
Tip number 6, last tip, and this is something I actually do. Use the LCO method. LCO. That is the leave-in conditioner. That is the leave-in cream oil method when you're moisturizing. As I said, apply your leave-in in the shower, and then apply your cream, and then apply your oil. And that is because oil is a sealant, and we already have sealed, restricted hair follicles, right? So if you do like the LOC method, the leave-in oil cream method, you apply your leave-in, you apply your oil, and that oil is a sealant. So you're sealing your hair follicle, sealing in that leave-in conditioner. And then you go to apply your moisturizer, which is the most moisturizing product in your moisturizing routine, but you're already sealed off. You already have sealed off your hair follicle. You've already sealed in that leave-in. It's not going to penetrate as well as it would have if you would have waited to apply your sealant, okay? So just apply the oil last. Whatever you do, besides like gel, like the styling products, make sure you apply your oil last, all right? LCO, leave-in, I'm gonna like put it somewhere. Leave-in, cream, oil, okay?